The potential to turn over $2.5 million a year in wooded silvo pasture without a drop of energy. That's insane. Welcome to the drain. So for most people, the tour would start here. Obviously, we love the beautiful prairie pasture land, but what I want to show you is in the trees. The drain, guys, it's 4 minutes up the road from where I live on Tathra Place Free Range, which is our original 100 acres. It's 150 acres. Why did I choose it? Because I loved all the beautiful silvo pastures and the eucalypt forest that's up here. And in my heart of hearts, this is where I honestly believe and how I believe pigs should be grown. Bunda!
Just a man frolicking with his pigs.
It's amazing to see how many of them are bouncing back now. So welcome to the Australian bush. It is beautiful normally. Obviously the fires, in saying that, there's beauty in this now. The regrowth is phenomenal, but this is typically the area that's on every farm in Australia that just gets a line drawn through it. It's the back 40 or it's the bush block or the whatever. And the exciting thing about multi-speciated, the regen world, is that we're not just looking down the road of ruminant or cropping or whatever's typically normal within these family groups. So this here, to me, what happens in my brain when I look at this is pig heaven. Nowhere, whether it be wild pigs or nowhere will you see pigs in nature living on the open plains. They don't like it. They feel vulnerable out there, vulnerable to predation. They live on the edges and they eat on the edges. So this is actually the right ecosystem for a pig to live in. And that's what attracted me to this block. It's the main reason I bought it. Obviously wasn't anticipating a bloody bushfire to go through, but this is where pigs are most comfortable. This is where they do the best. I'm going to show you the progression and the way we can help heal this land and turn this, what typically farmers would call absolutely useless parts of their land, into huge amounts of income. If you think about how many properties have 40, 50 and 60 acres of beautiful silvo pastured eucalypt just in Australia alone, I think we could draw a line through confinement pork. When I bought this block, I appreciate that there were areas that had been opened up out the back here. We're at the very rear of the property here, the boundary, and I'd put this into a sort of a 5 to 10 year plan to improving this. It was all covered in the exact same tussock species that we've just spoken about. That's what this was. It had a lot of acacia and stuff coming through too, small shrubs. But the bushfire accelerated all that. I saw an opportunity where instead of having to use a chemical base like glyphosate or mechanical means to clear a lot of that less desirable species out, the fire did that for me. So I've had to spend a fair bit of cash out here achieving this, but I saw it was an opportunity I couldn't let pass. So you can see here, we've drilled this, we've got a germination. It's not doing fantastically well, but what it is doing, it's working as a cover crop and it's stopping all that less desirable stuff from coming back through. Now I will fix this. The biology of this soil, it's not horrendous. It needs some inoculants and some organic matter put on top of it, but because of Tathra Place Free Range and the brooder program and all the stuff we're doing over there, the compost that we do produce, it's going to be easy for me to improve this, as well as obviously starting to sell, graze and move ruminants across. So I talk about this as the cheapest land I've ever bought because it was really had zero value, and with the bushfire and the helping hand that nature gave me, and then a slight investment as far as the seed and the drilling and the processes there, it's actually been pretty cheap land to acquire. So one of the big things that drew me to this property is Joel Salton. He talks about trying to create water high up in your ecosystem, because obviously then it gives you free you don't need any energy to move your water around. You can move your water around using gravity. So we're right at the back here, almost one of the highest points. And this is the first of a few dams I'm going to show you. And they are, some of them are linked. This one will definitely get linked because it's the highest. But this is how we're able to keep water to our stock without any energy. We don't have to pump. We don't even need windmills. It's literally just a siphon system, and we let a gravity do the rest for us. You just want me to fall in.
I'm going to kick you in.
So how do you get a prime out of a water source? We've got a foot valve at one end, which is only allowing water into the pipe. It's not allowing the water to run back down. And then the cheating way to do it is to put a valve at the highest point. So this is obviously where our water then disappears down into our paddocks so that our pigs can drink it. So all you have to do is it's turned off at a lower point to the height of where the water's coming in. So if we fill this pipe up, which may take a little while.
That's a better sound.
Yep. So fill it up to the nuts like that. Make sure all the air comes out of it. And then it's as simple as shut that. So you've just created your vacuum. And we'll wander down the other end down here and see if we can't get her going. I don't know, a kangaroo gets in there and kicks the pipe out of the way or whatever. I've still got 1,000 litres here, so if I don't come out on that particular day, I know the animals are still going to have water. So we have now got, we've got 6 cells completed here. Some of them are as small as 4 acres, some are as big as sort of 6 acres. So the pipe goes from here underground, straight down the spine, straight down the lane, and we have taps off the lane. So if it wasn't for this water high up in the ecosystem, we would have to be using energy to move the water. And that's obviously, we're talking about a completely zero energy hog operation, I think. Probably a world first. I'm gonna toss it out there. I don't like to do research. So yeah, the idea of growing thousands and thousands and thousands of kilograms of completely nutrient dense chemical free pork without any energy input. That's pretty cool. This is the end of the process. So pigs have been through here one pass. It was a group of about 100 hogs. This is about 4.5 acres. And they've come through and rooted out and cleaned up a lot of the underbrush. Obviously put down a lot of their own fertility. Now what you're seeing here, this isn't the same tussock we saw, or this isn't the same tussock we've been talking about. This is a mix that we've put out. So we literally come through behind the pigs, always try and pick it before a bit of rain, and we literally just feed the chickens, I call it, just throw the seed out on the ground. You can see why I can't get my drill in here. There's so much logs and trees and rocks and whatever else in here. So the best we can sort of do at the moment. Long term, I'd love to sort of clean this up a little bit more, but all we've done in here is we've allowed disturbance of the pigs, the clearing of the underbrush, the adding of fertility, then we've added to the seed bank, and the results, honestly, I know this isn't mind-numbingly award-winning pasture, but this is an area that grew nothing productive. We've gone from 0 to this already.
And
so
this is
one pass.
One pass, and it's grazable now, right?
Yeah, 100%. You'd probably get, like we're at the start of spring now. By the end of the spring, I'll probably get 4 or 5 cow days in here. Which is extra money on top of the pig program. Pig heaven.
Pig heaven and rubbish before.
Well, just a waste.
Yeah.
Wasteland. It's my new gate latch, Dave.
Very high tech.
That just goes to show this is all very new. We've only owned this property for just over 12 months. So this is a paddock where we've just introduced these weaners into. So you can see what I've been trying to describe. You can see the tussock quite marginal, areas of bare soil, some other little weed species, a lot of which I'm not even sure what they are, to be honest. There's no desirable species of pasture or anything that's palatable to a ruminant in here. This is why typically the areas of bushland in Australia, as much as there's forward-thinking producers that understand the benefits of the natural flora and fauna that obviously can improve your property and your operation widely, no one would see this as a productive zone. So with the advantage of pigs and running good numbers of pigs, we're able to turn this into a production zone. So this is how it starts this is what it looks like. It's still lovely for the pigs. There's plenty for them to chew on, but over time, we're going to be able to convert this into what we refer to as silvopasture. So develop trees, in our case, eucalypts, but with desirable, palatable species of pasture growing underneath. How do you run a zero energy hog operation? You need to have fences that will keep rhinos in. So I just want to explain to you exactly, this is what we've settled on. There's been many different versions of this, but we've been running pigs here for 12 months. We have not had one pig get out ever. So anyone that has run pigs and tried to do it without electric fence, they're probably clapping their hands right now. To everyone else, trust me, that's quite a feat. So we've got a barbed wire on the bottom, which has got the most disgusting amount of tension through it. They're not going to bother digging out of there. We've got a plain wire just to support the center of this 600mm chicken wire, and this is the heavy duty stuff, not the cheap nasty stuff. Plain wire at the top just to obviously maintain the structure of the top of that chicken wire. And we go barb, plain barb. And I'm touching them all deliberately so you guys can see they're not electric. There is no electricity used here, remember, we're zero energy. So this is the fence, and then we do our, the way I describe we do our posts or our star pickets is where we need them. Where the ecology needs it, we bang them in. Sometimes it's 4 meters, sometimes it's half a meter. So with the pigs, you need that anchored to the ground there, because that's how they get out. They wouldn't even dream of trying to jump that. They're just, by the time they get to the size that they could do it, they're too heavy. So the other thing I want to talk about is why is it such a robust fencing system above about 600mm? Because that's about all I need to keep the pigs in. It's because we are going to run cattle through here, and we are going to run sheep. And why have I used chicken wire, not hinge joint? Because I will run ducks through here, and there's probably a time in the future where there'll be chickens as well. So it's a system that we can use for every species of animal. Yeah, you may as well pan around, show them.
Well, it's just tried to take a nibble out of my back.
Pigs are very inquisitive.
Literally tried to nibble on me.
So that's how the trough works too, guys. That's why we've got it. You look how many pigs can drink out of that at once. That's what I was looking for. And they can't get in it. They can't wreck it. G'day, big boy. Aren't you gorgeous? Look at the rear end on this thing, Dave. This is what I'm breeding for, right? It's a little gilt, actually. So we've got huge shoulders. We've got the small head. We've clearly got the Hampshire ears, but we've got the big bunda. We're looking for the big bunda. So I'd say that little gilt there's a pure Hampshire. We are either turning out a pure Hampshire or we're doing a Hampshire Duroc cross. And it's pretty obvious to see these brown ones with the Duroc genetics in it too. Well, that video took a giant right turn.
Good.
You know, so I think what's actually happened there is the water was out. We fixed the water. They're all thirsty, so they've come up for a drink, I think is what happened.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Bunda! One thing is I'm an electrician, right? I can produce the hottest, most amazing hot wire and electric fence system you've ever seen. Why have I moved away from that? Well, the first point would be, obviously we're trying to run a zero energy operation here on the drain. But the second one is, pigs are so intelligent that if you have a power outage or a tree falls on it, or we get a lot of moisture and it gets earthed out, they can pick up on that so quickly. They're so smart that you just end up with pigs everywhere. And anyone that's had to spend a day chasing pigs back, it's the biggest time waster of all time. The other thing is, how do you keep pigs in? You don't give them a reason to leave. Why the hell would they walk out of there? There's 2.5 tons worth of feed in there. There's beautiful, beautiful clean water. There's wallows, there's pasture, there's nothing out here that they haven't got in there. So fencing with pigs is an honesty policy. Make sure they've got water, make sure they've got food, make sure they've got cover and forage and something to do. And they don't put any pressure on these fences. You know what I mean? So have a system where if they're in a tiny little pen and there's no grass and there's nothing for them to do, yeah, they're gonna try and get out. Grow pigs in this sort of ecology, never have an issue. Hey mate, I think it's that same little bloody gilt. I'm not altogether lazy. I have swung some of the gates here.
Beautiful fence posts, I've noticed.
Come in, yeah. So guys, this is our grower group. These are the ones we're actually loading from at the moment. So we will take these back to the original site and that's where they'll be loaded. But These guys have done a wonderful, wonderful job in here. You can still see there's plenty of green grass if you scan around the bottom here. These are very large cells, and these pigs have done a wonderful job in here. I'm actually a little bit excited to get in here and flick a bit of seed around. I think this could be our best result yet, but this is kind of the finishing point. It'll only probably take us another 4 weeks to process all these animals, and then this one will be empty. It will get seeded, overseeded. I might even be able to get my drill in here a little bit into this one. It's not so heavily wooded. So this is the end game. This is where we're trying to get to. And the next paddock we'll show you is where the pigs were last, and we've actually gone through the entire process. After the larger pigs have been finished, they're finished in the cell. This is my intention long term. So this one here you can see didn't quite have as many trees, and my poor staff member spent about 3 or 4 hours wandering around removing all the sticks. That's why there's piles of sticks under every single tree. But I was able to get in and drill this one. I've got a 1956 Conochet direct drill, no till, and you can see the massage from the pigs is giving me a fresh canvas to get in and drill a much more desirable pasture species. Now, why is this beneficial? Because there is no carbon sequestration. This process doesn't work without roots in the ground. You need roots in the ground, you need the rumen to come across, eat down that plant, roots decay, that's how we add organic matter, that's how we add carbon to the soil. So we've taken, and I know I've said this a few times today, but this is a completely zero production area. There was very little living roots in the soil. The tussock's a very, very shallow rooted plant. Let me show you that. You can see the roots. There's just nothing there. We didn't spray that. That's all disturbance from the pigs. And now we're going to have huge amounts of growth in here. We've got a lot of fertility from the pigs, so we know that we'll get fantastic growth, which means we'll get feed for ruminants on top of the ground and carbon being sequestered underneath the ground. It's really, really exciting. We're going to be able to graze this particular cell. I'm expecting pretty phenomenal results in here. I don't know if you can smell that, Dave. I can smell the humus in here. There's obviously a little bit of moving of soil with my seed drill, and we've had a little bit of rain, and I've absolutely no doubt we're going to get phenomenal results in here. This is incredibly exciting. This is taking land that probably forever would have just been considered the bush, forest, or whatever. We've not cut any trees down. We're not disturbing the ecosystem as far as the established eucalypts. All we're doing is improving what's happening underneath. So very, very exciting. This is something I'm very passionate about. I can't wait for another 5 years of this property and this cycling, and be able to take you guys on the journey. Oh, sorry, mate. We started, haven't we? My bad.